Life is messy and unpredictable.
Being able to find joy in the weeds of life is so important. I'm Beth.
And I'm Kim, and we are so glad you've joined us as we figure out how to hold joy in one hand and struggle in the other.
Welcome to Joy in the Weeds. Good morning.
Good morning, and here we are.
So, this is technically the first episode of season 4.
Wow, I feel old.
And Kim, the last episode, I didn't realize it until after it dropped, but the last episode was our 75th episode.
Oh, how fun is that?
So this is our 76th episode, or episode 1 of season 4. But
So when we get to 100, we need to have a party.
we're going to have that's going to be a huge celebration, which should be close to the end of this year, because we do about
Oh, right, of course.
between
Wow.
22 and 29, I think, is how it's gone in the year. So at the end of this season, we're going to have a party of some kind.
Something. That sounds
And I don't
good.
know what we're going to do, but we're going to have to think about it and figure out
We
something. But it's going to be
definitely
big.
will. And my cat is coming to visit. Sorry. It's like I'm watching my cat walk around my computer going, "Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up."
It's hilarious. Oh, well,
dear.
So happy new season.
Happy
It's
new
also
season.
Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
It
It's
is.
January 16 that we're
It's my
recording
sister's
this.
birthday
What?
today. January 16 is my sister's birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday to your sister.
Yes. Mhm.
For some reason.
She was a dream come true. That's all I
dream
wanted.
come
Oh
true?
yeah. Oh yeah. When I was little, when after my parents got divorced, I wanted nothing more than a baby sister. I remember like 7 or 8 years old, just yearning for a baby sister, thinking that's never going to happen because after I was born, my mother had a tubal ligation. Well, when she married her husband, she had that reversed, and 3 months later, she was pregnant.
Wow.
And I got my baby sister, even though they thought she was going to be a boy. She wasn't, and I'm glad. She was my joy. Like, I think I would have probably killed myself. Like, I literally, I would have been really close to. But she loved when I came home from school. I'd get off the bus and she'd greet me with a great big smile. And we're 13 years apart. I refer to her as my firstborn because I did homeschool and I looked after her for grade 9 during the daytime.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's my girl.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Elizabeth.
I should be able to remember that name.
Yes. Yes.
Should.
We don't should on ourselves, though.
I'm so... Oh, names.
Yeah.
I keep thinking that I'm going to make that a New Year's resolution situation. And then as I think about it more, I always go back to, no, I don't think I'm going to, because I know I won't succeed. Anyway, okay.
Here we are. I'm feeling very weedy today. So whatever.
Do you want to share about your weeds?
No, I don't.
Okay,
we
won't.
Feel very weedy.
You just are. But I think the whole point of this whole podcast is we can have joy.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of the weeds. So
yeah, exactly. And we can laugh and all the things, and life can still be good even though it's weedy.
So I've also, you can probably still hear it in my voice, but I've been sick since, well, it feels like since the day Christmas was over. It really wasn't. The week after Christmas, Chris and I went and I got my COVID booster.
Oh, that was painful.
I've never had a big reaction to a booster
really?
or a shot. Just minor, but this one, fever for a good 2.5 days.
Wow. Wow.
And, when you have fever, it just makes you miserable, like,
Miserable.
everything comes with that aches and
Yeah.
all that jazz, and so, anyway, so that was most of 1 week because our booster on Tuesday.
Mhm.
Friday, we drove to my nephew's church in Georgia where I preached on Sabbath, and then we came home on Sunday, and when I got home on Sunday, I had a raging sore throat.
Oh, dear.
And anyway, it has just been that was yesterday was 2 full weeks, and it's still not there. Like, I still have
Mm,
yuck. So anyway, I
that's
think the
nasty.
worst of it is just tired. So I'm a little weedy too. So I feel like
Yeah,
this
there
is,
you
like,
go.
not the day to start a season. But we're gonna
Or maybe we're just being really honest.
really honest. But, I'm sure there are other people out there feeling the same way. I mean,
Sure.
it's especially depends on how your, Christmas time was. Sometimes it's draining and sometimes it's exhilarating and,
Mhm.
um, anyway, did you have a good season with your family?
Oh, yeah, it's always been years and years. I've said this before, but it's just us and the kids, and now
Mhm.
that the kids live in the same town as we do, it was great. It was so funny though. Okay, my daughter is 30, okay? 30. And I had visions of, okay, they're adults, they'll come late, they'll probably eat breakfast at home, we'll do things differently. No, no, no. She's like, Jared, they own a house together. Um, Jared, can you get up? Can we be at mom and dad's by 9? And I thought we would sit on the couch to open our stockings. Mm-mm. No, no, no. We sat on our bed. The kids sat opposite us on our bed, and we opened our stockings. And then I made breakfast. I did make a different breakfast. We had pancakes instead of what we normally do. Um, and then we opened the gifts under the tree. But it was and then Tim and Jared used the kitchen table to put the Lego together, and we watched movies, and I made a traditional French Canadian tourtière which I'm going to do that now because I like it. It's yummy. For Christmas dinner with mashed potatoes and green bean casserole, and it was lovely. It was just very low key and lovely. How was
That's
yours?
awesome. It was so good. I mean, we had our daughters both came, Sarah with her husband and little Emma, came and stayed with us, and Anna came with her 2 little puppies. So we,
Mm,
had a house full, and then Andrew and Rebecca, who live right here in the same town, they just came over they
mm-hmm.
came over Christmas Eve for dinner and then again on Christmas Day and stayed the whole day.
Mm.
And we just, so we had all of our grandchildren and it was
Must
just
have been
absolutely
wonderful.
lovely. So
Yeah.
a little update, I had mentioned about my, losing my ornaments, the picture frame
Oh yeah.
ornaments,
Yeah.
and, anyway, our children, when they saw me post about it, they all got together and contacted all the family, and anyway, the first present to open was all the kids wanted me to open a whole bunch of presents, and they were just tons and tons of Christmas ornament picture
That's
frames, and with
so
pictures
cool.
in many of them, but then also a lot that are empty, so I get to, fill
Oh,
them with
neat.
pictures, and so, anyway, that was just such a joy, anyway, it was absolutely lovely, so that was a
Mm.
wonderful surprise, but this is really funny for any of the empty nesters, maybe you won't get this, but this is my experience. So Christmas Day was Sunday, right? And Chris had to
Mhm.
go back to work on Monday. So for us,
Mhm.
it felt a bit I mean, we had a lovely day. It was absolutely wonderful,
Mhm.
but, um, the girls were gonna be leaving on Monday, and I was just kind of low key in the background trying to make sure, that laundry was done and things were, okay for Chris and heading to work the next day, and anyway, at some point, our daughter Sarah came to us and said, "Would you guys be terribly offended if we just went ahead and went home?" Emma was a little off on her nap schedule, and so it just worked out that she would probably sleep well in the car, and so
Mhm.
They were just thinking about jumping, getting in the car and going, and then Anna said, "Well, if you guys don't mind, I think I'm just gonna go home too."
Mhm.
Uh, that was the greatest the greatest blessing.
That's
We
so
just went
cool.
from, like, the craziness of Christmas and
Yeah.
all of the things and having all of them here and just the chaos, and then all of a sudden down to just Chris and I and quiet,
Mhm.
and it was just a
Mm.
really nice evening, for us
Mhm.
to have and for him to have before having to get back to work, so
Right. Yeah.
anyway, so it was lovely having them, and it was, as I usually say, it was lovely when it was just us
Quiet
again,
again, just the 2
so
of you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. That's what's so nice about our kids being in the same town as us, is they came for supper last night. We were watching, we just watched Psych and ate, potatoes and cabbage and hot dogs. Like, it wasn't this elaborate meal, but they both, well, Cameo worked, but they both had the evening off, and so they came and they were here for like 3, 4 hours, and then they went home, and then Tim and I spent another hour just relaxing, doing a crossword
Yeah,
puzzle, and then we went to bed, and it was just so nice because they can come, it's then they can go home, and we all have our own space, and it's just lovely.
yeah.
Just lovely.
Well, so what I wanted us to talk about today, I just got
Mhm.
back from a conference last week. I was I was
Can't
sick.
imagine being at a conference and being sick like that. That'd be miserable.
I was sick, but I decided I couldn't get a refund on, the
Oh.
hotel and all that. It was so late. And um so I thought, I'm not contagious anymore. It's just a matter of needing to
Mhm.
get it all out and get going.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
I thought, well, I can just as easily be sick in front of the TV in a hotel room as I can at home. And so um, I just went and did what I could do. And when I was tired, I'd go up and take a nap. And so I certainly was not at everything, but I still gained so much. But the theme was replenish. And
Okay.
I just came away greatly challenged to continually throughout this next year focus
Mm,
on replenishing or focus on having a little more balance, focus on taking time to do the things that really cultivate joy.
mm. Don't you do that anyway?
Yes and no. I mean,
Okay,
yes, but
okay, you're gonna have to help me. You're gonna have to help me make the connection between replenishment and joy.
oh, why? Explain.
I don't. I don't. I can see how they might be cousins, but I don't see that. I don't. I don't necessarily see replenishment as always being about joy.
Oh, I don't think it is at all. I don't mean that at all. I do, you know,
So how does cultivating joy and replenishing.
maybe I shouldn't say cultivate joy, but I find it, at least for me personally, I find it very, very difficult to really experience joy when I am beyond depleted. And
Okay.
maybe coming out of the holiday season was a really good time to have such a topic. Um, and being sick, I'm depleted is a very good word for me right now.
Okay, so
What
what
I'm
I'm what
feeling.
what I'm hearing then is, um, it's by replenishing that. opens the space up for joy,
Gives me the capacity for joy.
the capacity for joy.
However, I think one of the most powerful moments of this whole um, conference that I went to was when at the very end, well, next to the last night, there were still meetings the next morning, but the last night, um, Pastor David Ferguson from the Collegedale Seventh-day Adventist, or the University Church there in Collegedale, Tennessee, um, spoke about the importance of humor for replenishing.
Oh,
And
curious.
first of all, it was the funniest. I mean, we all were laughing to tears.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, at one
Mm-hmm.
point I got up because my son was FaceTiming me and I'd missed several calls. And so I was, thought, I hope nothing's wrong. So I jumped up and
Mm-hmm.
rushed out. And when I got back, it was fine. Everything was fine. But when I got back, one of the ladies sitting next to me says, "Did you have to go to the bathroom?" Because we were all laughing so hard
Oh,
that,
right, 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 right,
that's a
right,
thing that happens.
right.
So,
Yes. Yes. The older you get, the more it
oh,
happens. Oh
yes.
my word.
And so, um, anyway, but that wasn't the reason. But yeah, but that, it was understandable because we were just all in stitches listening to him speak. And then that night they actually we got to watch the Skit Guys live, which was such
Oh,
a joy for
live.
me because
Oh, how fun.
yeah, I taught drama at Mountain Pisgah Academy for quite
Right.
some time, and
Mm-hmm.
and I was not a drama teacher. I had no background in drama whatsoever. I just knew it was a niche that needed to be filled, and
Mm-hmm.
for the kids' sake, and I
Mm-hmm.
relied very heavily on the Skit Guys, and so they have been a real joy to me personally, but then
Mm,
also just as I listened to them, I could remember lines being said by many, many students. And it was
mm,
just it was so wonderful. But also, we just laughed so hard.
mm.
And so, and you can't argue, I mean, you have to say that was joy. So there
Yes.
was a
Well,
lot of joy.
yes. Yeah.
And so joy does help in replenishing. But at the same time, I find it really challenging to be um, in a place of depletion and experience joy. Really, depletion for me, when I feel really depleted, I just feel flat.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just flat.
Mhm. So more like a numbness, like there's nothing
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I feel empty, flat
Empty.
and empty. So,
Hmm.
how do you replenish, Kim
So,
Cove?
let's back up. Let's back up. What do they mean by slow down? When you were at this conference, what define replenish? I mean, I can make an assumption of what it means. If I'm going to replenish my fridge, I'm going to go do the groceries and I'm going to fill it back up again. So,
Well,
is
there
that
was
what
a
they mean by
ton of stuff. The
replenish?
whole thing was, I don't know that there was a beginning definition. It was just,
So
you talk about going to the
so
grocery
define it
store.
for how you are. So define replenish for you.
Mm. Kim, I don't know. I don't know how to do it without doing the cardinal sin, which is, you using the opposite, which is to not feel depleted.
Okay. Okay. I mean okay.
but
Okay.
but to replenish, I mean, replenish implies like what you do, right?
Okay. Yes. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
so
you
that's what I
can't
want to talk about, all the
or
different things.
or or it could be not doing. One way to replenish is to not do.
Mm. You are in a mood.
I am true to my Enneagram 4.
You
We
are.
like doing nothing.
And I started off talking about laughter. Wonder what
Uh,
we
oh
Mm.
goodness. Yes, I am in a mood. Um okay, so what it's this is actually interesting because I have the last few conversations I've had with people that I've just met.
Mhm.
where I want to get to know them. I've actually asked different questions rather than what do you do?
Oh, that's good.
I have actually asked, what do you wh- I mean, I stole it. One of them I stole from Annie F. Downs. What do you do for fun?
Mhm.
And how are you creative? Those have been the two questions. Like on Sabbath, I met two new people and I asked them both those questions.
Hmm.
Did you know that people have a hard time answering that?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Especially the
sure.
creative one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure fun is a little bit easier for them, but creative is interesting.
Yeah. Because, yeah. Anyway. Sorry. Back to your question about what do I do for Replenish? Literally, like, and this is why this creative thing has been foremost on my brain, is that I have set up one of our back bedrooms that is not completed yet. We're still in the process, but we're working in the kitchen, and because I've wanted to paint. I have not watercolor painted in a very, very, very long time since we've moved into the house. I've only taken, like, when Tim's out of town, I go and do a little bit because it makes a mess of my living room and I want things tidy. Anyway, so I have set up that room and my paints are out.
Mm.
So this week, I skipped, I was depleted on Wednesday. And Tim and I had supper and I left him at the church and I came home and I said, I just need to paint. So I sat down and I painted for an hour and a half until he came home. And then yesterday I painted. I actually did a cute little portrait. It doesn't look exactly like Tim, but it looks pretty close of when he was a little boy.
Mm.
Um, and I'm working on a gardenia and I'm painting. And today I'm gonna paint a little thank you card that's gonna be a mouse because someone made these little felt mice for Tim and I. He's a church member.
Mhm.
And I said one Sabbath, I'm like, I want a mouse. And so he made one, and the little lady is holding a Canadian flag, the female mouse, and the male mouse is in a suit, and there's a table with a Bible on it. So it's like, I loved it. So I'm like, I need to paint a little watercolor mouse and make a thank you card and send that back. So painting is really what I have been doing to replenish lately
Mm.
this week.
How does that replenish you? What about that do you think is replenishing for you?
I believe there's something about the creative
Mhm.
process
Mhm.
that puts us in a different place in our brain. Like there, while detail is important and we use our left brain, creativity is a very right-brained thing,
Mhm.
and it kind of
Mhm.
opens things
Mhm.
up. It's a calm experience. There's no stress.
Mm.
There's no have to. There's no um, I work very hard at the critical voices that tell me it's not good enough.
Mhm.
Um, I it's very absorbing. Like it just takes you to a different plane. You lose track of time. I lose track of time. Um, and it there's something about um, doing something artistic that is creative, because creativity comes in many different shapes and sizes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's something about making something beautiful, and as I have gotten better, and then there's also the piece is like, yeah, I liked to paint before, and when I see the progress and I see what a flower looked like before, when I was learning, and years later, even though I haven't painted for like a year, I'm looking at like, whoa, this gardenia that I'm working on is going to be stunning. Like it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be frame worthy.
Aw.
Um, and it just feels so good to make something beautiful. I would imagine that that's how God felt
Mm.
when he created the world. And of course, he did it perfectly, which I can't, and that's okay. But when he said, "This is good,"
Mhm.
This is very good.
Mhm.
And I think it's okay for us to feel that way.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking when you were talking about how it is replenishing for you, that I know a lot of people where they can exit that left brain and really delve into the right brain by just listening to music, or
Yes.
I
Yes.
I found myself doing that yesterday. I had some things I really needed to get done, and I
Yes.
didn't have that didn't I didn't have what I needed to
Yeah.
energy to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I put on some music, and
Yeah.
just having the music help to, um, yeah,
Replenish.
replenish. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
By the way, if you are on, YouTube, here, I wanna show you.
Oh, look at that.
That's my art wall. So, I
Wow.
have all my stuff out, and it's a mess, but it is
But
there,
that
and I can
but
do it
that's it.
whenever I want. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I
Mhm.
wanted this room to be done or done enough that I can put stuff out. I mean, when I paint it and stuff, it's all that's gonna have to come out, but so that I could just leave it and it doesn't
Right,
leave my house
right.
messy because there is a component of being in a mess that is depleting.
It is very depleting.
Isn't that something?
It is very depleting, and, we've talked about this before recently because I'm in this new space and I'm trying to
Mhm.
get things
Mhm.
settled, but, um, for me personally, that's one of the continued goals for replenishing, and making that a priority in my life, is to make, order a priority in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've made the same choice. Especially when we moved to this house because this is a beautiful like, God was so good to me because when we
Mm.
moved, I would just sit on my and I would just pray, "I just want a beautiful home, Lord. If you don't want to, that's fine, but I would love to have a beautiful home." And he was so gracious
I
in
love that so
answering
much.
that request. This is literally my dream home. Like, I couldn't have this is a dream home for me, and it's
Oh,
not
that's so
elaborate, and it's very simple. It's only 3 bedroom. It's only, like, less than 1,600 square feet, but it is my dream home.
And
So
you don't have to have huge to have your dream home, that's for
no,
sure.
no.
That's awesome.
So keeping things tidy, putting things away, has been something that has also been on the top of my priority list, and I found that it is very like, to walk into a tidy kitchen
Mm.
is the most wonderful thing in the world. When I get up in the morning and the kitchen is tidy, like, oh, just like,
It
"This is fantastic."
does make the morning so much better, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you do to replenish? Or what are you currently doing? Because that it can change in time. It can change over time.
It does change. One of the things that I've committed to for this year is order, or
Mhm.
organization, cleanliness.
That's just that word hurts my heart.
What?
I like the word tidy. I like but organization just goes against, my soul.
No, it does. It's one of those things I keep telling myself, I've got all right, here we go. It's way too personal, but I've got a lot of ick associated with those words.
Mm,
Um, in
mhm,
fact, recently I was having a conversation with someone and I said, I have truly believed,
mhm,
like, because it's been told to me a
mhm,
lot
mhm,
from the time I was young until
mhm,
recently,
mm,
by people who love me and know me, not my
mhm,
husband, let me just put that out there,
mhm,
that, I'm basically a slob.
mm.
And
That's painful.
so with that comes a lot of ick, and quite
Shame.
frankly has not made me want to. Ironically, people think that if you tell them that, it's gonna make them want to not be one.
Yeah, no.
But instead, it's had the opposite effect. So, yeah, I there is a lot of ick associated with all words
Mhm.
that, and making that a priority is really, challenging for me.
Mm. Mhm, mhm.
Um, in some ways, it has felt like they were right, and
Mm.
but I'm I'm
Mhm.
don't believe that, so don't misunderstand me.
Right, but I
I
can
know
understand there's a part of you that, like, wants to push against this.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, but I know that not only am I not a slob,
Mhm.
I also know that things being beautiful and orderly and lovely
Mhm.
around me are very important.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, um,
Mhm.
yeah. So I'm ready to let go of
Mm.
the lies that have sort of, um, plagued me for quite some
Yeah,
time and really step into, "No, that's not who you are."
right,
And so
right.
let's live out who you are in this
Yeah,
area.
yeah. What do
Alright,
you
that's
do
what I
to make like, I have every 2 weeks, because the flowers die, but I buy flowers.
mhm,
I've never done that before. I have got the most beautiful, and they're just grocery store flowers. They're not expensive, but
yeah,
there's, like, they're not daisies, but they look like daisies, but they're all yellow. And then yellow, little tiny yellow roses, and then sort of like a peachy colored rose. And then there's these really cool things. They're like spiky, and there's like green and purple tips, and they're like, those are the coolest things. So yeah, those are and what I found, and this I think is also replenishing.
mm,
Every time I walk by them, I take a moment and I just look at how beautiful they are.
mm,
And
yeah,
there is something replenishing about that.
yes.
Yeah. 'Cause you do
Every
flowers. That's normal for you.
what?
Isn't doing flowers, buying flowers normal for you?
Yes, but I will say that I was just getting ready to say it's been a tradition without me realizing it was a tradition,
Mm.
that when I take down all of Christmas and get it all put away and the house all clean, it always feels very empty because
Mm.
I've put boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff away. And I
Mhm.
like a more sparse, um, design style, you might say.
Mhm.
I'm not big into lots of things. So then it feels, it can really go there, feeling
Mm.
empty. So what I tend to do, and I didn't realize it was a tradition until, um, all right, I'll be perfectly honest. I've been putting away my tree because I've been sick. I have not
Oh, right.
gotten everything put away, and so that was yesterday's job, and I still have a little bit to do this morning, and then it will all be gone. But, um, in the process of putting everything away, I always to fill the feeling of emptiness, I always go and buy fresh flowers, and it's
Oh.
usually tulips. I love tulips,
Oh.
and they just are bright and cheery for me this time of year. But, yeah, I love to go get boy, those of you that are just listening, you're really missing out on cattail,
It's like
a
we
literal cat's tail.
she is
Hilarious.
she just jumped. I'm on a
She's gonna
rocking
be
chair, and she just jumped
she
behind
wants
me.
to be on the podcast today. That's so funny.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, yes, I do love flowers, and I think they are,
I didn't know you liked tulips. I'm gonna have to
I do
remember
love
that.
tulips, but, I wouldn't say they're my favorite,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
but I do love tulips, from the standpoint, tulips are really interesting in that you can put them in a vase and, if they're cut well before you put them in the water and then you put them in the water and so they're really drinking well, it's
Mm.
fascinating because they will continually change, like, they move and, like, you'll
Mhm,
come out in the
mhm.
morning and they're in a completely different position than they were the night before, and then
Mm.
they change, and it depends on, sunshine and who knows what all, but they
Mhm.
will, sometimes droop down and then they'll curve back up again and all on their own, and it's just a beautiful thing to behold,
Mm.
so I really enjoy watching tulips.
My Omi told me that years ago, that all tulips will eventually turn red. Like the ones you put in the ground,
Oh,
eventually they will turn red.
I don't know about that.
I don't either, but if Omi said it,
Around here,
she knows.
deer
Omi knows.
eat them
Omi
before
knows everything about flowers.
around here, deer eat them before.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They like to dig and eat the bulbs. Anyway, so yeah, um, what were we saying? What we were doing to replenish?
Yes.
Order.
Order.
Um, for me, also art, which is that's
Yeah.
why the art wall,
So what
that
are you
is
working on?
definitely
I'm very curious on what's that what that is that you're painting right now.
it's just a
Is it
abstract
abstract?
painting,
Oh,
a
okay.
trio painting, and it's actually nothing like it's going to be. This is like
Yeah.
the
I
under
figured. Yeah.
yeah.
It didn't look completed.
So it takes yeah, it takes some steps. Anyway, but it's dry and ready for me to go at it again, so I'm excited.
Yeah. You're gonna do that
And I got
today?
an idea
Mhm.
yesterday as I was taking
Mhm.
something off the wall that was Christmas. I got an idea for something I want on the wall, so I'm
Oh,
excited about
fun.
trying again, but
Isn't house decorating also like figuring out, excuse me, other ways to make your house like beautiful?
part of
Like
replenishing for me.
yeah, very replenishing. Like when you go when you do it slowly, when you're like this wall needs a mirror. And you're not like it needs a mirror, it needs a mirror. I got to get the mirror now, but you're
Mhm,
like I'm going to look and when I find the
mhm,
right mirror, then this wall will have a mirror and I'm going to be patient. And when you find the right mirror and you're like you and then it's like yes. And then it's just that and again, it creates around the space around you just brings a level of comfort, peace.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think for me, do excuse me.
Bless your heart.
I'm so sorry. Um, that is similar to art for me,
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
and
Well, yeah, makes
it
sense.
is an artistic process
Yeah. Mhm.
that I very much enjoy doing.
Mhm.
So, yes, and it's part of the, order and tidy.
Mhm.
I have no desire for things to be organized unless they're beautiful. So,
100,000%.
yeah, if I can't get it to beautiful, then who cares?
Mm-mm. Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's very important to me.
Wow. So what are some other ways to replenish? Because not everybody like, when I asked one girl the other day what she was doing for self-care because she just got a new job, and she's like I said, "So what are you doing for self-care?" She's like, "I like to exercise." I'm like, "You
Mhm.
are out of your" and for her, like, that brought her joy and replenishing. Now,
So,
I exercise, but
one of the things that I heard this last week that there are a couple things that really challenged me. So I'm gonna just give you these as my takeaway that I'm gonna really try to incorporate into my life this year. And one of them was a beautiful sermon. And I'm sorry I cannot remember his name to give him credit, but a beautiful sermon. And the premise of his sermon was we were created in a garden, we were
mm,
redeemed in a garden. We are destined for a
mm,
garden.
mm,
And then
that's
he
beautiful.
basically said to replenish, just go take a walk. And the
Mm,
idea that, to get out into nature, into
mhm.
God's beautiful creation and take a walk. And so that's one of the things I'm going to add into my thing. It's
Good for
not about
you.
walking for exercise, and I've done this before, but not about the exercise component as much
Mhm.
as it is to be in God's nature. And sometimes that will look like not walking, but just going out and being in God's
Right,
nature, maybe
right,
sitting on a park bench.
right.
But try to incorporate that in some way each day. And it was interesting because was thinking about that yesterday and I didn't do anything. And then this morning, I have a whole list of things to do. Today's going to be a very incredibly busy day for me.
Mhm.
And I, um, this morning, I was sitting there and thinking about my day and all the things I had to do, and the idea that I want to go be in nature and absolutely just do not have time for it. And
Mm.
today, and I was trying to figure out how, and if I'm going to make it a priority, well, then, I need to hurry up and do it. And I looked up from my phone and my
Mhm.
to-do list, and this is what was outside my window.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And for those of you that can't see, it was an absolutely
Beautiful
spectacular
sunrise.
sunrise, and just we don't face directly east, so we don't get I can't actually see the ball of light coming up
Mm,
from the actual sun,
probably
but
better for
it
me.
is we kind of face, I would say northeast,
Okay.
maybe directly north, and so yeah,
Mm,
wow, this morning, though, the colors were just spectacular, and I
mm,
just anyway, I was like, "Okay, even if I just look up and go outside and sit on my deck,
mhm,
with a glass
exactly.
of water, um,
Yeah.
that will replenish, that will be part of the process." So, going outside was one of them. The second one that was really impactful for me was laughter, and
Mhm, mhm,
I just it is so important and so underdone, and,
mhm,
the preacher David Ferguson, who was talking about it, was just, sharing all the statistics and the importance of it and all of
mhm,
that, all the while making us laugh, which was so good, and, so yeah, those 2 things are
mm,
really gonna be high on my list to add to other things that I do, so
mm. I was listening to a podcast, going back to the nature portion of,
Mhm,
what you were
mhm.
saying. I was listening to a podcast, recently about the importance of a sense of wonder,
Mm,
and how that sense of wonder takes you outside of yourself,
mm,
and that there's something bigger out there. And I do believe that state of being, for lack of a better term, um, is replenishing. Like, every th to me, the night sky full of stars
yeah,
and the sense of wonder, and the
mm,
sense of this is so much bigger, and the beauty of all the I don't wanna use the cliched words, but the just and then every time I see Orion's belt,
mhm,
since I was a little girl, it's kind of like Jesus is there. I
mm,
there's just something, so then it makes it even bigger. Um, so when you're looking at that sunrise,
yeah,
or we're watching a sunset, or there's just that sense of awe and wonder. And the lady on the podcast was saying that was going to be her practice this year, was to find wonder in something every day. It can be anything. And in generally for me, wonder comes with something that is created, that I have not created, like a blade of grass, or those spiky flowers that I or the calico pattern on my cat. Like,
mhm,
that
mhm,
is, like,
mhm,
incredible.
mhm.
And so what having that connect I anyway, I'm done. I don't know
So,
how to wrap that up.
another one that I have been thinking about, is reading,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that one is really connected with also a whole lot of ick for me.
Oh.
I have said my whole life I'm not a reader,
Oh, well,
which
don't you have a struggle? Don't you struggle
yeah,
with reading?
I'm dyslexic. I've never been diagnosed, but I have a child who's been diagnosed. I've got a brother who's been diagnosed, and I recognize it a
Okay.
lot.
Well, there you go.
So I know
So
I am. And I it's in so right before well, when we first moved into this house, I was having a conversation with my neighbor, and when she found out that I grew up in Ethiopia, she said, "Oh, I
Mm,
really would love have you ever read?" And she told me about her
mm,
favorite book. And I said, "No." And, of course, did not share that I'm a terrible reader. And I don't, you could just about ask me any any book. "Have you read this?" And I can say no. But anyway, um and she said, "Well, I'm gonna share mine with you because it's my
mm,
favorite book and I think you'll very much enjoy it." And so she shared it with me. And I have been determined to read this book
mm.
because I'm going to, be able to tell her thank you and, how I enjoyed it. Simply for the reason of connecting with her, which
Mm.
anyway, but truly I kept trying and trying and trying and it was just really hard. Of course, she gave it to me late October and then it's into the holidays and, I've been working so hard to get ready. Anyway, all the things. I just haven't taken time to read.
Right. Yeah.
And it finally dawned on me one day, there would be no shame in listening to it.
That's exactly.
And but then, my second thought, then as soon as I say that to myself, which is so interesting how we work, the very next thoughts are I can hear people like,
Oh,
real bookworms who talk about, oh, yes, but I just have to hold it. I have to smell it. I have to hear,
oh,
like I have to read it. And so then the next thought is, well, obviously you're not a real.
oh, wow,
I'm
you
just
that
sharing with you that
shame
how
road.
yes,
Whoa,
I'm
Beth,
telling you.
that's so hard.
So caught up in all that. Anyway, and I was like, "No, that is
Good for you.
yuck
Yeah,
that I don't need to hang on to,
yeah,
and it's not true,
yeah.
and, so I'm just gonna listen to it." So I went and found it, like, purchased it or whatever, um, and just finished it. And it
And?
was like 40 some hours, so this is a significant book,
Woo!
um but, while I was driving back and forth this conference and, just one point when I was in the hotel by myself, instead of turning on the TV, I just listened to the
Mhm,
book, and so and it was such a joy, and,
mm.
it's a novel, it's not it's nothing no self-help. No.
I don't I'm not a
It's
very
just
good nonfiction book reader.
it's just a story. And yet, um,
So are you gonna
it's a story that's based in Ethiopia, and
are you gonna tell
so
us what it is?
oh,
I wanna know the name of the
it's
book.
the book is the name of the book is Cutting Stone.
Cutting Stone, okay.
Um, I can't say who it's written by, I'm sorry. But anyway, it is absolutely it's a really brilliantly written book.
Mm.
The subject matter is fascinating. It's the story. It is based in Ethiopia and, some of it, um, around the time that I would have been there, and
Oh,
so
really?
and
That's
before I got
cool.
there and after I got there, and so, um, that when they would describe a scent or a game
Mm.
or something, I could relate. I could smell it, I could
Mm,
taste it.
that's
It was just fascinating to me, and I enjoyed it so much,
mhm,
but that was replenishing for me, and
mhm,
I think it's important for us to take time to well, for me,
mhm,
I
mhm.
think it's gonna be important for me to take time to find just stories
Mm,
and books that are not with it that it where it's not about learning per se, but
mhm,
just listening to a story.
mhm.
And I
Hmm.
will be listening, not reading.
I
And
know
I
that listen, I watch enough book talk on TikTok, where many, 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 many of them will say listening to a story is reading it.
yeah,
Don't sell yourself short. You are if you wanna quote unquote read 15 books by the end of the year, whatever. I mean, usually it's more than that. Listening to it counts. So,
yeah. Well,
and
that's
they
how
are
I
the
will be
bookworm.
doing it. It dawned on me at I'm so sorry. At one point when I was struggling through the mess,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
of shame. Um, eh, it it dawned on me. I mean, if a person doesn't have a leg, we don't think that they're not walking if they're using a prosthetic.
Exactly. Well said. Well said.
So,
Plus, you don't need book talk people to tell you that anyway. I was just thinking, who cares what book talk people say? If you want to listen to it and call it reading, yeah.
no, I appreciate that, and that anyway, it's definitely been a thing for me.
It's.
Hey.
I was just about to
Mhm.
tell you one of the most the recent book that I just listened to. Heather Thompson Day actually suggested it to me, and it's called Wintering. It is a nonfiction book. I think the author's name is Catherine May, um, and Nicole Zawowski.
Yeah,
She's actually recently posted a quote from that book on Instagram. So and we've had her on Nicole on this podcast.
yeah.
Anyway, it's called Wintering. It is a nonfiction book. This and it's written like it is so good.
I will look it
I,
up.
I
I'm
don't I
looking
don't
for just so you know, any of
Yes.
you out there, my people listening here, anyone that's listening that are my bookworms out there.
I know.
I'm looking for books, but I do want some that are not um, about learning something per se.
Right. But
So,
it's more this is more like a memoir
yeah.
than like
I would
yeah,
love
it's
some
more of a memoir.
autobiographies or some
That's a good
biographies or
one.
some, just stories. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. So if you have any recommendations,
Oh, honey.
um,
I listened to when we
send them
drive
my
to
way.
Canada 20 hours up and then 20 hours back, um, there's we listen to a lot of books. Tim just listened to, I think it's called Kite Runner, that was recommended by a friend of
Mm,
mine. It's a story that takes place in India. And he said that one was he said it was painful. He would listen to it again, and it was very good. So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
All right. So anything else? Because we're running out of time.
I know, I
Anything
was
else
just
that
looking
I was
at
thinking of how did that happen? Anything else that you do to replenish, Kim?
to
Or you
replenish.
want to start doing?
Um, I when my sweet husband squeezes my feet in
Mm,
the evening, we will sit in such a way because I'm always touching him. My primary love language is touch. So I'm always touching some way, and he will grab my foot and he will just squeeze or rub his thumb, kind of like a foot massage, but not like a full one. That is
mhm,
very replenishing. Very, very replenishing. Doing our we will like in the evening we watch a couple shows. I watch lots of HGTV, and he is very good to watch those with me. We will stop that around 8 o'clock. We'll get ready for bed. We'll get in bed, and we will do a crossword puzzle or a Sudoku together before we go to sleep. And that is also very
mm.
replenishing. I think connection. My point is connection. Connecting with other people is replenishing.
It really is. Meaningful connection with
Yeah,
others.
meaningful. Yeah, meaningful connection. We are actually next
And what I mean by
Saturday.
meaningful, it doesn't have to be deep. It just has to be
Right.
meaningful. It can be
Yeah.
fun, but it needs to be meaningful.
Which is we're doing fun next week. We're going to see Phil Wickham. There's a concert, and we're going with another church member
That's
and then a
awesome.
couple of people that Tim works out with. So it's just yeah, next Saturday night we're going to see if so that again, that is very doing something that's out of the norm, that is, you know, music related, being with people. Yeah.
For sure.
Anything else that you do? As we're wrapping up, blah, blah, blah. We thought we were going to talk about Psalm 23. Ha!
Well, I was gonna read it because I think it goes so well with this just in closing, but, um, yeah, I'm the one thing that I am trying to do this year, and I've already really been struggling with it, so I'm gonna be talking about this a lot because I wanna stay on track,
Okay.
is I committed to myself to do my best to only shop locally this year.
Oh, wow.
And what I mean by that is like within a 10-mile radius of my home.
Oh, wow.
Um,
That's pretty cool.
and try to purchase even within that radius, try to do as much local as possible. So, um, locally owned, small business, whatever.
Wow.
And trust me, it's not that complicated because I live in a place where there's so much of
Yeah,
that.
that's
So I
true.
really feel almost
That's
like it's an embarrassment of riches what I have here. And yet, I can't tell you, I had so gotten in the habit to find, click, purchase on Amazon that
Mhm.
um it has really been a challenge.
Mm.
But along with that comes the very first part of Psalms 23. And
Mm.
in my Bible, it reads this way, and I'm going to read it real quick. Well, I'll read through it after it, but this is and you wouldn't think of this as being a way of replenishing, but I really feel like it is. And that is mine says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing."
Mm. Mm.
And
I like that.
reminding myself
Mhm.
that with him as my Lord and Savior, I have everything that I
Everything.
need.
Yep.
Therefore, when what this thing of shopping local has made me do, one, I have to want it bad enough to get up, go and find a store that might have it. Two, it makes you question, do I really need that?
Mhm.
Because I did give myself I am giving myself the option. Like if I really need something and the only way to get that thing is to order it on
Mhm.
Amazon or to
Sure.
whatever, I will or order it online. I will do it. But it's got to be something that I really need. And so I'm grappling with this on a daily
Mm.
basis of what do I really need?
Mm. Hmm.
And I'm finding I don't
That's
really
a good
need a
question.
lot.
That's a really good question. Yeah. Like that mirror in the hallway. That
Well, it was so funny to me that you brought up mirrors because I have a spot in my house where I would like to have 2 mirrors and I would like them matching.
Mhm.
So it's hard to find like on Facebook Marketplace or in little,
Mhm.
consignment stores or antique places or whatever. It's hard to find a mirror that's right.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's
100%. Mhm.
especially hard to find 2 that are the same that are
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And so I keep thinking, well, maybe this is like something I need to go outside of my
Mm.
commitment to local. And then I was like, no, no, I don't really
Good for you.
need it right now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to wait and rest and know that if,
It'll
it'll
be
come.
there when it comes. Yeah, I
It'll
hear
come.
you. I
Yeah.
hear you.
So anyway, that's
That's
one of
cool.
them is just this understanding that I I have what I need and
I wonder if that's you just
a contentment.
if we I wonder if that's why we keep go, 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 go. Not for everybody, but part of part of our not replenishing ourselves is we're chasing after something because we
Mm,
think we
mhm.
don't
We need
we
something.
need.
Yeah.
We think we're lacking when in the truth is we're not lacking.
No.
And so we can take a breath.
All right, I'm gonna read this real quick, then we're
Okay.
gonna answer our question. "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures.
Mm.
He
Oh, yeah.
leads he
Mhm.
leads me beside quiet waters.
Mm.
He refreshes my soul.
Mhm.
He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Mm.
I mean, that just is replenish every
Yeah,
bit
that's
of
a
it
great
right
thing.
there.
All of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially, he's going to replenish.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. In the last 24 hours, Kim Cove.
Yes. Beth Grissom.
It's season 4. What is something? I can't believe that. It's just crazy to say. What is something that has brought you joy, laughter, or a smile?
Well, I've already mentioned it. Kids coming over for supper last night,
Mm.
just sitting on the couch and relaxing. I did get a foot rub last night. We did a couple Sudokus, and they're just all just being us, being us, being family was just very joyful.
That's awesome.
But for you?
I've already said it too.
Oh, see, there you go.
You all know that sunrise is pretty important to me.
Mm,
And there's something just, um, it's always like God's love letter to me,
mm,
when I see a beautiful sunrise, and I just, relish in them. And so this morning, I will say it was a huge moment too of realization of the importance of stopping and looking, because
mhm,
I was already in this mode, right? Like the sun hasn't even come up yet, and I am working on thinking about the day,
mm,
the list of things that need to be done, how
mhm,
I'm going to fit everything in. Like I'm full on in that mode, and with my phone right there, just going through things and looking at things. And I mean, I wanna say it was just by chance, but I don't believe it was chance. I believe it
mhm,
was the Holy
mhm,
Spirit, but,
mhm,
who raised my head and made me turn and look. And,
mm.
um, yeah, so the sunrise,
That's wonderful.
yeah. And I think about replenish too with that. It's just the importance of looking up, looking up
Yeah,
for what we're doing, taking moments where we just stop for a second.
yeah, for sure.
It really changed my whole perspective on the day, just a
Yeah.
few
Yep.
minutes.
Yep. It doesn't take long.
No.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
well,
So we're gonna
yay!
encourage you all to go and do something. Go and do. I don't wanna put it like a task because that's not replenishing, but to find some replenishment today. Do
Yeah.
something for
And hey, if
yourself.
you wanna drop us a line and let us know what you
Yeah,
did, that would be
that'd be
awesome.
fun.
That would be
Yeah.
so fun. You could put it on,
Like,
Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram,
Instagram. Mm,
send us an email,
yeah.
whatever, all the things. So, yeah, we would love to hear from you, but yay, here we go, starting season 4 and on our way to our 100th episode.
Mhm. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is very crazy.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day, Kim. It's good to talk
You
to you.
too. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We would really love to hear from you. So please find us. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Joy in the Weeds. You can also email us. Our email address is joy@carolinasda.org. That's joy@carolinasda.org. Now, we hope that today, as you navigate the weeds, you will also hold on to moments of joy. This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.